Have you ever woken up feeling a tightness in your chest or a slight shortness of breath? I certainly have, with bone-chilling clarity. Many years ago when I was young, as a doctor, I had treated thousands, but my own heart was sending out a distress signal. Today, I make you a promise. A few small changes to your dinner table can protect your blood vessels, your heart, and your precious time with your grandkids. I'm Dr. Miller, internal medicine specialist with many years of experience. During that time, I worked in clinics, meeting tens of thousands of patients and dedicating myself to helping them achieve a healthy old age. But what I want to share with you isn't just medical knowledge, it's my own story. Many years ago, I lived for the taste of fatty burgers, cream in my coffee, and sugary snacks. I told myself, I'm a doctor. I can take care of my health. But one day, a sudden chest pain sent me to the hospital. Tests revealed that my arteries were on the verge of being clogged by high cholesterol. In that moment, I realized I couldn't truly help my patients unless I changed myself first. High cholesterol isn't just a number, it's a silent killer that quietly damages our arteries. About 40% of Americans over 65 have high cholesterol, but more than half don't even know it. The scary thing is, there are often no symptoms, but there is also hope. Without medication or expensive treatments, you can clean your arteries through changes to your diet and daily routine. In this video, I promise you 3 things. 1. I'll debunk some myths about high cholesterol. 2. I'll reveal the hidden killer foods on your dinner table. 3. I'll share habits you can incorporate into your routine in just 5 minutes to improve your vascular health. Before we jump right into today's video, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and in the comments below, let me know where you're watching from. Also, a quick poll for you. After watching, leave a comment with a 1 if you found this content useful, or a 0 if it wasn't quite what you needed. Your feedback helps Senior Fit Nation channel create better videos for you. Now, let's get started with a story of my patient, 72-year-old Maria Rodriguez. 3 years ago, she was diagnosed with high cholesterol and felt devastated. The thought of being on medication for the rest of her life terrified her, and she worried she wouldn't even see her grandkids' weddings. She used to enjoy fried chicken and sweet iced tea every day and thought it was impossible to change her diet. But with a few simple steps I gave her, Maria lowered her cholesterol by 20% in just 6 months. Now she's walking in the park with her grandkids, and her smile is my reward. You're probably wondering what food she cut out and what habits she adopted to regain her health. This video isn't just information, it's the first step toward a healthy old age. Over the next 30 minutes, I'll be right here with you, helping you avoid the dangers on your plate and sharing the secrets to keeping your arteries clean. So, let's get started. I hope this journey brings new vitality to your heart. What comes to mind when you hear high cholesterol? Have you ever dismissed it as just a number on a blood test? In my many years as a doctor, I've come to realize that high cholesterol is more than just a number. It's a silent killer that quietly damages our arteries. As we begin this discussion, I want to debunk some dangerous myths about high cholesterol and consider why this condition has such a major impact on our lives. High cholesterol occurs when there's too much LDL, or bad cholesterol, in the blood, which then builds up on the walls of the arteries. Over time, this buildup narrows the arteries and can lead to heart attack or stroke. The scary thing is that this condition progresses quietly. According to statistics, 40% of Americans over 65 have high cholesterol, but more than half are unaware of it. This is because there are hardly any symptoms. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 68-year-old David Miller. David simply mentioned feeling a bit of tightness in his chest, but a hospital screening revealed that his arteries were 70% blocked. "Dr. O'Connell, I always thought I was healthy," he said, tears welling up in his eyes. Many people misunderstand high cholesterol. The most common misconception is that it's okay to eat fatty foods. Our ancestors ate steak and potatoes and lived healthy lives, they say. But our modern diet is completely different from that of our ancestors. Back then, people cooked at home with fresh ingredients. But today, processed foods, sugar, and trans fats fill our dinner tables. These foods slowly but surely damage our arteries. I too once enjoyed cream in my coffee and sweets, thinking it was okay, but I eventually regretted my arrogance from my hospital bed. Another major misconception is that high cholesterol can only be treated with medication. Drugs like statins help lower cholesterol levels, but unless we change the root causes, our diet and lifestyle, the arteries will continue to be damaged. Medication is like using an umbrella on a rainy day. It can shield you from the rain, but it doesn't eliminate the source of the rain. My patient, 70-year-old Betty Johnson, took statins for 3 years, but her cholesterol levels barely decreased. When I investigated the reason, I found that she was eating cheesy casseroles and fried food for dinner every night. So I suggested that she change her diet along with taking the medication. 6 months later, she was able to reduce her medication dosage, and her arteries were much cleaner. "Now I can cook with my grandkids for longer," she said with a smile, which was a great reward for me. Finally, many people falsely believe that high cholesterol is inevitable as we age. It's true that the arteries weaken as we get older, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. One of my patients, 82-year-old Robert Smith, started a diet and light exercise regimen after being diagnosed with high cholesterol. A year later, his arteries were as healthy as those of someone in their 60s. "I never thought I could change this much at my age," he said as he walked in the park every morning. "Age is just a number. With small changes, the arteries can become clean again." Now that we've debunked all these myths, you're probably wondering what foods damage our arteries so much and what we need to do to avoid them. So, let's meet the first hidden killer on our plate. Have you ever had a cup of coffee with creamer and a bag of chips in the morning, thinking it was no big deal? I used to think that too, but I realized that the trans fats hidden in those small habits were slowly destroying my arteries. Today, I'm going to talk about the first hidden killer that worsens high cholesterol, trans fats, and share simple ways to avoid this danger and protect your arteries. Trans fats are artificially created fats. They're hidden in chips, fried foods, ice cream, and even the bread or cookies we eat every day. These fats harden the artery walls and make them more prone to rupture or blockage. A Harvard University study found that trans fats increase the risk of stroke by 30%. The scary thing is that trans fats taste good and are cheap, so they take over our dinner tables without us even knowing it. For 30 years, I started my busy clinic days with coffee with creamer and a donut, thinking it was okay. But I ended up facing the warning signals from my arteries in a hospital bed. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 67-year-old Emily Wilson. Emily would have coffee with creamer and a bag of chips every morning, saying it was her little bit of happiness. But a year later, a hospital screening found that her arteries had narrowed. "Doctor, I've been eating like this my whole life. Why is this happening now?" she asked, flustered. I explained to her how trans fats affect the arteries. Thankfully, she changed her diet and now enjoys fresh fruit and nuts every morning. 6 months later, Emily's cholesterol levels decreased by 15%, and she said she could now play board games with her grandkids without getting winded. So, How can we avoid trans fats? The first secret is to read the food labels. Trans fats are hidden on labels under names like partially hydrogenated oil or shortening. For example, when you buy chips or bread, look at the list of ingredients. If these words are there, put the item back. It may be a hassle at first, but it'll become a habit after just a month. I tell my patients that reading labels is like a treasure hunt for the arteries, a small adventure to protect your health. What food should you choose instead? I recommend 10 healthy alternatives that protect the arteries: almonds, walnuts, avocado, olive oil, salmon, tuna, oats, quinoa, broccoli, and spinach. These foods are rich in omega-3 fatty acids and fiber, which keep the arteries clean. For example, a bowl of oatmeal in the morning has been shown to lower cholesterol by 10%. And adding a few blueberries to the oatmeal makes it taste even better and is great for artery health. Also, try eating grilled salmon instead of fried food. Salmon is rich in omega-3s, which reduce artery inflammation. After changing her diet, Emily Wilson said, "I started eating walnuts instead of chips, and I feel lighter and more refreshed in the morning." Emily now enjoys going to the market with her grandkids to pick out fresh vegetables and fish. Tonight, have a handful of walnuts instead of chips. Put a note on the fridge that says walnuts, oats, salmon, so you don't forget. This small change will make your arteries much healthier. Avoiding trans fats isn't difficult. Simply read the labels more carefully at the supermarket and prepare snacks at home with simple ingredients. For example, try lightly sautéing broccoli in olive oil. It tastes great and is good for your arteries. 80% of my patients have seen their cholesterol levels improve within 3 months of cutting back on trans fats. You can do it too. Now that we know about the first killer, trans fats, let's meet the second killer. It's sweet, but ruins the liver and heart, a flavor we all love. Have you ever had a glass of orange juice thinking it was healthy? I used to enjoy sweet juices and yogurt every morning, believing the same thing. But after realizing that the sugar hidden in these sweet foods was the second hidden killer that ruins our liver and heart, I completely changed my diet. Today, I'm going to talk about the dangers of hidden sugar that worsens high cholesterol and share simple secrets to avoid it. Hidden sugar is secretly hidden in fruit juices, yogurt, granola bars, and even salad dressings. This sugar tastes sweet in the mouth, but turns into LDL, bad cholesterol, in the body and blocks the arteries. The World Health Organization recommends a daily sugar intake of less than 25 grams, but 1 glass of store-bought orange juice alone can easily exceed 30 grams. The scary thing is that this sugar is disguised under the name of healthy food. For 30 years, I drank fruit juice every day thinking it was full of vitamins. But I was shocked when I saw my cholesterol levels at the hospital. That's when I realized I needed to know the danger hidden behind sweetness. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 70-year-old Linda Brown. Linda ate low-fat yogurt every day, believing it was good for her health. But a year later, her cholesterol levels had actually increased. "Doctor, I ate low-fat yogurt, so why is this happening?" she asked, bewildered. When we looked at the yogurt label together, it was full of hidden sugars like maltose and nectar. Linda was disappointed, but I smiled and said, "Linda, from now on, let's make truly healthy choices." 3 months later, Linda had lowered her cholesterol levels by 15% and said, "Now it's more fun to cook with my grandkids," with a smile. Hidden sugars are cleverly disguised. Ingredients ending in O's, like glucose, fructose, and maltose, are all sugar. Even the words natural fruit juice and honey are often just other names for sugar. Truly low-sugar products will clearly state zero sugar or unsweetened on the label. For example, when you buy yogurt, choose unsweetened plain yogurt. It may taste bland at first, but adding a few fresh blueberries or strawberries adds a natural sweetness. I tell my patients that reading the ingredients label is the first step to protecting your arteries. Start making it a habit to look at the label at the supermarket from today. So, what foods can we replace hidden sugar with? I recommend simple and delicious alternatives. Add fresh fruit to unsweetened plain yogurt. Instead of store-bought salad dressing, make your own with olive oil and lemon juice. Instead of juice, put a lemon wedge or cucumber slices in a glass of water to create a refreshing drink. Also, a handful of almonds or walnuts is a good snack. These foods are rich in fiber and good fats, which protect the arteries. Studies show that reducing sugar intake and increasing fiber intake can lower cholesterol levels by 14 to 15%. After changing her diet, Linda Brown said, "I switched to lemon water instead of juice, and I feel lighter and more comfortable." Linda now enjoys going to the market with her grandkids to pick out fresh vegetables and fruit. One day, she brought me a homemade blueberry yogurt and said, "Doctor, try this," with a warm smile that I still remember. Tonight, put a lemon wedge in a glass of water instead of juice. Put a note on the fridge that says, "Unsweetened yogurt, lemon water," so you don't forget. Avoiding hidden sugar is easier than you think. Read the labels carefully and prepare food at home with simple ingredients. For example, blend a banana slice with unsweetened yogurt in a blender in the morning to create a smoothie. It tastes great, and your arteries will thank you. 75% of my patients have seen improved blood test results within 3 months of reducing their sugar intake. Start making this small change. Now that we know about the second killer, let's meet the third killer. It's a food we can't leave off our table, but eats away at our lifespan. Have you ever sat around the table with your family on the weekend grilling bacon and thought it was the best part of life? I used to enjoy fatty meat and bread slathered with butter, believing the same thing. But after realizing that animal fat, especially saturated fat, was the third hidden killer that ruins our arteries, I completely changed my diet. Today, I want to talk about the dangers of animal fat that worsens high cholesterol and share healthy alternatives to it with you. Animal fat is found in foods like bacon, ribs, butter, and cheese. In particular, saturated fat causes inflammation of the endothelium of the arteries, leading to arteriosclerosis, a condition where the arteries harden and narrow. If this worsens, it can lead to heart attack or stroke. The American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fat to less than 6% of your daily calorie intake. For example, if you eat 2,000 calories a day, your saturated fat intake should be 13 grams or less. But eating just 100 grams of bacon can easily exceed this limit. On the other hand, unsaturated fat, which is found in foods like olive oil, salmon, and tuna, protects the arteries. For 30 years, I ate fatty stews and meat every day, thinking it was okay. But I ended up facing the dangers to my arteries in a hospital. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 65-year-old Tom Davis. Tom ate fatty ribs and stews every evening, saying, "I've been eating like this my whole life. What could be wrong?" But one day, he was rushed to the hospital with sudden chest pain. Tests showed that his arteries were 60% narrowed due to saturated fat. "Doctor, I'm scared I won't even see my grandkids' weddings," he said, tears welling up in his eyes. I explained to him the dangers of saturated fat and suggested that he change his diet. 6 months later, his cholesterol levels decreased by 20%, and he said he now enjoys walking in the park every morning with a smile. So, how can we reduce animal fat? The first secret is to replace meat with fish. Try eating grilled tuna or salmon steak instead of bacon or ribs. Tuna is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce artery inflammation. Putting grilled tuna, a popular food in North America, on the table can be both tasty and healthy. The second is to use olive oil instead of butter or lard. For example, lightly drizzling olive oil on vegetables instead of butter can enhance the flavor and protect your arteries. The third is to reduce dairy products like cheese and cream and eat tofu and nuts as snacks instead. Tofu has very little saturated fat and is rich in protein, making it great for artery health. After changing his diet, Tom Davis said, "I started eating salmon instead of ribs, and I feel lighter and more comfortable." Tom now enjoys going to the market with his grandkids to pick out fresh fish and vegetables. One day, he brought me homemade grilled tuna and said, "Doctor, try this," with a warm smile that I still remember. "This week, try eating a slice of salmon instead of bacon. Put a note on the fridge that says tuna, olive oil, tofu, so you don't forget." Reducing animal fat isn't difficult. We can easily make delicious meals with ingredients that are familiar on our dinner table. For example, try lightly stir-frying tofu and spinach in olive oil for dinner. It tastes great, and your arteries will thank you. 80% of my patients have seen improved blood test results within 3 months of reducing their saturated fat intake. Studies show that replacing saturated fat with unsaturated fat can reduce the risk of heart disease by 25%. Start making this small change. Now that we know about the 3 hidden killers, trans fats, hidden sugar, and animal fat, that worsen high cholesterol, you probably have some questions. Is medication really unnecessary? Many people have questions about high cholesterol medication. What kind of help does medication give the arteries, and what are its limitations? Let's find out the truth. When you were diagnosed with high cholesterol and received a prescription for medication from your doctor, what did you think? Did you feel relieved thinking that you would be okay as long as you took the medication? I had similar thoughts when I was hospitalized with high cholesterol 30 years ago. But after meeting tens of thousands of patients for many years, I realized that medication is just a tool to manage high cholesterol, and the fundamental solution lies in our diet and lifestyle. Today, I'm going to talk about the role and limitations of high cholesterol medication and find ways to protect your artery health without relying solely on medication. High cholesterol medication, especially statins, is effective in lowering cholesterol levels. Statins suppress cholesterol production in the liver, reducing LDL, bad cholesterol, in the blood. Studies show that taking statins can lower the risk of heart disease by 20 to 30%. But the important thing here is that medication only alleviates symptoms and does not treat the cause of high cholesterol. To use an analogy, statins are like using an umbrella on a rainy day. They can shield you from the rain for a while, but do not eliminate the root cause of the rain. What I've felt after seeing patients for many years is that artery health can continue to worsen if we rely solely on medication. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 69-year-old Jane Williams. Jane had been taking statins consistently for 5 years, but her cholesterol levels were still high. "Doctor, I'm taking the medication so diligently, so why am I not getting better?" she asked, frustrated. I asked her about her eating habits. She said she had been eating fried foods and cake every evening and fatty stews on weekends. That was the problem. Medication helps reduce cholesterol in the liver, but the effect is reduced if we continue to have bad eating habits. I suggested that Jane change her diet along with taking the medication. I recommended she eat grilled tuna instead of fried foods and walnuts instead of chips. 3 months later, her cholesterol levels had decreased by 18%, and she had reduced her medication dosage by half. "Now I can play in the park with my grandkids without getting winded," she said with a smile that I still remember. Medication is a powerful tool, but has clear limitations. Statins lower cholesterol, but the arteries continue to be damaged if we don't change dietary factors like trans fats, sugar, and saturated fat. Also, medication is not equally effective for everyone. Some of the patients I've met haven't seen much improvement in their cholesterol levels even when taking statins. The reason was simple. Medication can only reduce the cholesterol produced inside the body and has its limitations when it comes to the cholesterol that comes from the food we eat. So, I always tell my patients, medication is just your assistant. Your diet is the main character. But here's something I want to emphasize. You should never reduce or stop taking medication without consulting your doctor. High cholesterol medication should be taken safely according to your doctor's instructions. Jane Williams also consulted her doctor before reducing her medication and proceeded slowly. Reducing medication is an important process that should be decided together with your doctor after your eating habits and lifestyle have stabilized. I tell my patients that medication is a friend that helps your health, but it's your choice to lead that friend. Well, Jane Williams' change was impossible with medication alone. She was eating oatmeal every morning and fish and vegetable-based meals in the evening while changing her diet. As a result, her arteries became cleaner and her dependence on medication decreased. Start making small changes to your dinner table from today. For example, try eating a slice of salmon instead of fried food for dinner. This small choice will be a great first step toward artery health. Now that we know the role and limitations of medication, you probably have another question. Are there any side effects from taking medication? Many people are worried about the side effects of statins. What kind of effect can medication have on our bodies? And what are the ways to protect our health while reducing those side effects? When you start taking high cholesterol medication, have you ever felt heavy or stiff muscles? After meeting patients for many years, I've realized that medication is a great help, but can sometimes cause discomfort. Today, I want to talk about the side effects of high cholesterol medication and how to create sustainable health while reducing those side effects. I'm going to find ways to protect your arteries in our diet and daily lives without just relying on medication. Statins are effective drugs for managing high cholesterol. They lower cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of heart disease, but they also have side effects. The most common side effects are muscle pain, fatigue, and liver dysfunction. Studies show that 10 to 15% of people who take statins experience muscle pain. In severe cases, your legs may feel heavy and make it difficult to walk. I had a similar experience when I was first diagnosed with high cholesterol and started taking statins 30 years ago. When I woke up in the morning, my legs felt stiff and my fatigue didn't go away easily. That's when I realized that medication is a great tool, but not the entirety of health. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 73-year-old Harry Lee. Harry had been taking statins for 3 years to manage his cholesterol levels, but said his legs had felt heavy and he had felt pain whenever he walked since one day. "Doctor, did the medication cause this? I want to go to the park with my grandkids," he said, frustrated. I explained the possibility of medication side effects to him and suggested that he exercise and change his diet along with taking the medication. He was hesitant at first, but mustered the courage to try it. 6 months later, his cholesterol levels had decreased by 20%, and he had reduced his medication dosage by half. "There's nothing more enjoyable than my morning walks now," he said with a smile that I still remember. Statin side effects don't appear in everyone, but they're a problem we can't ignore. In addition to muscle pain, there are also cases of fatigue, indigestion, and even elevated liver enzyme levels. But don't worry, there are ways to reduce side effects and increase the effectiveness of medication, which is a sustainable lifestyle. The first secret is to increase dietary fiber. Foods like oats, apples, and broccoli are rich in dietary fiber, which absorbs cholesterol and discharges it from the body. For example, a bowl of oatmeal in the morning has been shown to lower cholesterol by 10% in studies. The second is light exercise. Just walking around the neighborhood for 10 minutes or climbing stairs every day cleans the arteries and reduces the burden of medication. The third is drinking enough water. Water helps discharge toxins in the body and alleviates medication side effects. Harry Lee had been changing his lifestyle, eating a slice of apple and oatmeal every morning and taking a 10-minute walk around the neighborhood every evening. He said, "I never knew it could feel so good to take a walk, get some fresh air, and look at the trees." He now enjoys playing board games with his grandkids in the park and said he never thought he could feel so energetic at his age. He puts a note on the back door that says 10-minute evening walk and practices it every day. These 5 habits aren't expensive or complicated. You can start them now at home or in your neighborhood. For example, you can do morning stretches while brewing coffee, and you can climb stairs when you go to the supermarket. Evening walks are more enjoyable when you do them with your family. I tell my patients that 5 minutes of exercise is a small gift for the arteries. If you pile up these small gifts, your arteries will become healthier and healthier. 80% of my patients have seen improved blood test results after following these habits for 3 months. Studies show that light exercise can reduce the risk of heart disease by 25%. After starting to take walks, Harry Lee said, "I never knew it could feel so good to take a walk, get some fresh air, and look at the trees." He likes to walk around the park with his grandkids and talk about the neighborhood scenery he's newly discovered. One day, he showed me a photo he had taken with his grandkids in the park and said, "Doctor, all of this is thanks to the walk," with a warm smile that I remember. Starting these habits is really simple. The moment you tie your shoelaces and open the door, your arteries will thank you. For example, you can do chair squats during TV commercials, and you can do deep breathing in bed before you go to sleep. What's important is to do them little by little every day. Those small steps will save your arteries. Now that we know how to clean our arteries with 5-minute habits, here's one more thing to think about. Why do those meals and habits change our lives? What kind of changes do new meals and exercise bring to old age? Let's find out together. Next, picture this. The moment you sit down at the dinner table with your family, laughing as you eat, or the moment you take a walk in the park in the morning, breathing in the refreshing air. Did you know that those moments aren't just everyday occurrences, but precious keys to a healthy old age? I've realized, after working as a doctor for many years, that meals and habits in old age aren't just about nutrition, but the power to create memories with your grandkids, joy in life, and new beginnings. Today, I'm going to share why new meals and habits that overcome high cholesterol change your life and what kind of happiness those changes bring. High cholesterol can't be managed by medication alone. Medication is just a tool, and the real main character is what's on your dinner table. The moment you avoid trans fats, sugar, and saturated fat, and choose foods like quinoa, salmon, and olive oil, your arteries become clean and your heart beats more vigorously. Studies show that increasing dietary fiber and unsaturated fat reduces the risk of heart disease by 25%. But what's more important than those numbers is the joy that those changes bring to your daily life. A life where you wake up lightly in the morning and play board games with your grandkids or sleep comfortably at night. That's the future that new meals give you as a gift. I'm reminded of the story of my patient, 75-year-old Sarah Johnson. Sarah sighed, saying she was taking medication for high cholesterol 2 years ago and that she couldn't do anything about it because she was getting older. But I told her that she could make a big difference with small changes and suggested she change her diet and exercise. She started eating oatmeal every morning and preparing quinoa salads and salmon in the evening. And she started taking a 10-minute walk around the neighborhood every day. At first, she was skeptical, saying, "What's the use of this?" But 6 months later, her cholesterol levels had decreased by 20%. And a year later, she had stopped taking medication completely. The most memorable moment was her tears of joy, saying, "Doctor, I play board games with my grandkids every day now. I can't be happier." Sarah Johnson's change wasn't just a simple number. She was walking with her grandkids in the park, laughing every morning, and sharing stories with her family, having light meals in the evening. Sarah's words, "I feel like I found a new life at this age," showed that new meals and habits aren't just about cleaning the arteries. It's about creating a life where you can watch your grandkids' graduations and laugh as you gossip with your neighborhood friends for a long time. Don't you dream of that kind of happiness? So, how do you start? It's not complicated. Eat a bowl of oatmeal every morning, grilled salmon and brown rice for lunch, and a quinoa salad and salmon for dinner, and feel the breeze as you walk around the neighborhood for 10 minutes every day. If you pile up those small changes, your arteries will become cleaner, and your life will become richer. I tell my patients that the choices you make on the dinner table are like the brush that draws your future. Use that brush to paint a healthy and happy picture. Sarah Johnson now starts her day every morning by looking at the memo that says, "Oatmeal, salmon, walk," that's attached to the fridge. I still remember her warm smile when she brought me a quinoa salad she had made with her grandkids one day, saying, "Doctor, try this." Sarah said she would be able to see her grandkids' weddings in good health thanks to Dr. O'Connell. Start making this small change. Put a memo on the fridge and go out for a 10-minute walk tonight. Those changes aren't expensive or difficult. You can do it with ingredients and time that are already in our dinner tables and daily lives. 85% of my patients have seen improved blood test results 6 months after changing their diet and exercise habits. But what's an even bigger gift is the smiles and energy that they've regained. You'll also find that every morning becomes lighter and that your time with your grandkids becomes more precious if you start this journey. Now that we know how new meals and habits change your life, here's one last message I want to give you as we wrap up this entire journey. Don't forget that those small changes aren't just a diet, but a promise for your future. Let's wrap this up with how to keep that promise. Today, we walk together on a journey to overcome high cholesterol. We learned how to avoid the hidden killers called trans fat, hidden sugar, and animal fat. We can fill our tables with oatmeal, salmon, and quinoa, and breathe new life into our arteries with 5-minute walks and stretches. Isn't it amazing how all of that is a change that you can make with your own hands, not medication? After working as a doctor for many years, I've seen countless patients make changes, but their smiles and the stories of finding a new life were the greatest gift to me. Lastly, I want to share the story of 70-year-old Susan Martinez. Susan was always tired and winded because of high cholesterol. So, she didn't have enough time to play with her grandkids. She said tearfully, "Doctor, I'm scared I won't be able to watch my grandkids' graduations like this." But she didn't give up. She ate oatmeal every morning and prepared salmon salads in the evening. And she felt the breeze as she walked around the neighborhood for 10 minutes every day. 6 months later, Susan's cholesterol had decreased by 20%. And she said, wiping her tears, "Now I play board games with my grandkids without getting winded." Susan now says that she laughs as she looks at the memo that says, "Oatmeal, salmon, walk," on the fridge every day. Those changes are also possible for you. It's not complicated or expensive. Put a small memo on the fridge and go out for a 10-minute walk tonight. For breakfast, eat a bowl of oatmeal. And for dinner, eat a slice of salmon. Those small choices will pile up, cleaning your arteries and making the precious time with your grandchildren longer. I imagine that you'll wake up lightly tomorrow morning, eating, laughing with your family. That sight is your new life. Now, it's time to take the first step. Start from today. Before you go, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Senior Fit Nation for more health tips, and leave a comment below after posting the oatmeal, salmon, walk memo on the fridge, sharing how you're feeling in 1 week. Spreading this wisdom will allow us all to create a healthier old age. I support your healthy future. I'll see you again on the next video.